Brothers and sisters in the nation of Kenya, I want you to hear this is going to be the future that is going to happen in this country. William Ruto and Kalonzo Musyoka, they are going to work together. ABABU NAMWAMBA will play a very key role in that partnership. Prophecy helps us to be able to know how the future looks like, and for those who benefit from the alignments to know where to align. The Lord spoke to me a few weeks ago, and I saw in a vision. And ABABU NAMWAMBA was giving an interview to a media house where he was asked, we know that by now, that was now actually 2022 when the interview was happening. He said, by now you could have deputized one of these two people, either the DP, William Ruto, or Kalonzo Musyoka. Then he said, even now, I am playing a key role as an advisor to both of them. Now, in that dream, the Lord spoke to me after the dream and said that these two are going to work together. On one side, it will be those who favor the force of God that is sweeping the nation. On the other side, it will be those who have their full trust in the gods and not in God. They will be a bunch together. But the good news is that up until 2007, the forces of evil and good in this country have been fighting for who is going to be higher than the other. And in 2007, they came at par and they faced each other. The forces of evil was coming down. The power of God and of good was rising up, and it had managed to pull down the other one to a level where they were at par, and they faced each other. And the force of darkness declared it cannot go down. But the power of God didn't argue. It continued to push the same way it has been pushing before. If you remember carefully, that is the time that you saw several believers, true believers, begin to, gather courage to go for political seats. Going forward, you're going to see many more believers going for political seats. And the nation is going to begin to experience firsthand the effects and the impact of the children of God when they come into power. Whether in the constituency level, in the senatorial positions or governorship, or even in the presidency. Of course, I mentioned last year that we are going to see a constitutional move that is going to reduce the number of counties that we have, and is going to reduce the wage bill that is so much crippling the government. This cannot happen and could not happen in a political environment such as the one that we had towards the last general election. So going forward, the handshake gave that platform where some of these things can be discussed and negotiated. I still want to submit to us, it is not easy. It will not be just an easy walk in the park to get anything amended. It may not even be during this government. Because those who want the constitution amended, they want it amended for their own selfish gains. And they want to stop one William Ruto from ever ascending to power. That is a very narrowed view. We are supposed to be, as a country, looking soberly at the issues that are there in the nation and what is good for us as a country. Not thinking about who will get what after we have done what. Mutilating the constitution to create positions of power or to deny some people from ascending to positions of power with all the privileges that they have helped others to ascend to, with the same privileges. It cannot be a good motive. It is a wrong motive. It is ill-advised. It is not supposed to be that way. But it is happening, and possibly it is going to happen even more going forward. But the good news is God has an agenda with this nation. We are the lighthouse of the gospel in the end times, and we live in Kenya. We are supposed to evangelize the world. The oil, the copper, the titanium, and all the resources that are being discovered every day. The purpose is to change the economy of the nation so that the nation can spread the gospel in these end times. That cannot happen now with the kind of environment that we have, but it can happen with the environment that God is continuously preparing and advancing in this country. The powers of darkness that have been ruling, they have been under constant attack by the power of God, and they are being weakened by the day, so that the leadership can be handed over to the people standing on the right platform. Tribal politics will not help it. Fighting one another will not help it. God is raising up people who have a sober understanding. When we look at all the things that are happening today, of course, you know, politicians do what they do for the purpose of gaining political mileage. But we are going to have leaders who are not out to gain some mileage, politically speaking. But people are out to serve the common man and to serve for the common good of all. This is going to happen. It may sound like a dream, but it will happen here in this nation and in our generation. And so as you pray, I want you to pray with understanding. The war on corruption is not a war that has been fought with sincerity in many parts of the world. But many politicians think and plan around the perceptions of different segments of the society. And if they are able to brand one as corrupt, then it becomes their laundry. And they are able to launder themselves so that they are seen as the clean ones compared to. Not as the clean ones, but as the clean ones compared to the ones perceived as corrupt. So the smear campaigns and propaganda machineries are very much at work. But our nation is not like any other nation. It is a God-fearing nation. And it is a country that is meant to take the gospel to the ends of the world. So God is putting us into a school where He can teach us the truth and how to deal with each other with those sincerity and without looking at what is our tribal extractions, but looking at Kenyans as Kenyans. Going forward, these narratives that we have heard before will not hold water. Every man that was ready to kill because the opposition leader had said this concerning the president, and every soldier and military person and police and militias and organizations that were willing to break the law because the president has said this concerning the opposition leader. I told you that time and warned you that don't be carried so much away by the words they both speak. Right now, those who are too extreme are confused because both men are together. Why? Interests. Interests. In the books of politics, it is written that what matters is interests. There are no permanent enemies, but there are permanent interests. So who is guaranteeing my interests at this particular time? They will throw you under the bus and go and become strange bedfellows with the person that they had told you you should never look at them. Kenyans learn. The handshake has taught us that it's only the Kenyans down there who are confused to the level that they can fight one another. I'm hearing some narratives and I don't understand why people are so naive. Few months ago, the Jubilee Party was intact. And every member was praising both the president and the deputy president. Right now, a section of the Jubilee Party, they don't want to see the deputy president. Why? All of a sudden, he is not fit for anything. Now, the same thing, it has elicited reactions from the other people who back him up, and they are looking at the president as the one that is sending the lieutenants to go and push that narrative. Nothing could be further from the truth, or it may still not be a truth at all, but it has created a perception, which in politics is key. So, people of God, are we supposed to go with the perceptions? Of course not. We are supposed to know what is the agenda of God. The worst among the believers is the best compared to those outside the kingdom. I say it again. The worst among the believers is the best compared to those outside the kingdom. Those who have understanding understand what I mean. Our backup has to be intact, and our prayer has to be single, irrespective of which denomination you belong to and which tribe you come from. We are still very tribal, even in the church. But in the kingdom of God, those of us who are in the kingdom of God, you view people differently, very differently. And look at them and you know where the finger of God is pointing. And without reservations, we push that line. Selah.